Okay, so we got 5 people, so that means that our numbers are shrinking. So first of all, guys, again, there is no formal agenda for today, more like a conversation, kind of like a check-in chat, as well as just some updates, which I'm gonna be sharing with you. So first of all, grades. So basically for the assignment 1, for all the people who had any questions, reach out to me, and we were figuring out why they got different answers. I believe everything is explicitly clear. We found the common ground, as well as, first of all, the explanation why the answers were different. So it's a kind of like the rationale or some adjustments on my end, because some of you were removing outliers. Totally fine. Again, because I wasn't very specific about outliers and how to deal with those. So kudos to you guys, because I honestly wasn't expecting that you will be removing those. Secondly, the participation mark. So instead of basically breaking participation mark into 2 like main categories. So first of all, the class participation or attendance, as well as in-class quiz, answers to my questions, etc., etc. So I kind of like blended it into one single section. For the homework, for those of you who haven't submitted it yet, please submit it before the assignment 2 deadline. So therefore, I will be able to take a look and provide you the grade. So far, I believe there are only 2 or 3 people who submitted Best Buy homework and got their grades. So again, it's optional, not mandatory, no pressure. Feel free to do it if you like so. Okay, basically question about the exam format. So I was in touch with Valentina and the rest of the team. So we all agreed that you guys will be working on this exam together. So I will be sharing spreadsheet file, most likely with you. So I'm still thinking about the format, but I was wondering what's a typical or what's the normal average exam duration on your programs, and what kind of duration you're comfortable with, because again, we all work from home and I can do certain adjustments. So please unmute yourself, speak up, because again, it's a kind of in our all best interest to find the optimal exam format, as well as define the optimal exam duration. Please, anyone?
Hello, Semyon speaking.
Hi, Simon.
Hi. So about exams, I remember statistics test. It was test, maybe 10 questions or something. It was 45 minutes. Okay. And I remember data analytics, data science exam. It was 90 minutes, but it was really hard with derivatives, with clustering, manual clustering, etc. This is it.
Okay, understood. Because what I'm currently having in mind, and I basically just took a lot of notes, I'm thinking about 3 main sections for the exam. So 15 test questions, basically either multiple or a single answer test, then 2 open questions, 15 minutes each, and then 1 mini case, basically calculation, similar to the best case homework, as well as to assignment number 3. So again, nothing very serious, just a calculation based on formulas. So in total, it would be 1 hour, 30 minutes. You guys fine with that?
Just to clarify, so the Colgate is not the exam, it's assignment, and then exam is another thing.
Yeah, so we are having optional homework, then 3 assignments, and then 1 exam.
Okay, that's clear.
Yep. Cool. Okay, so basically I will in contact with Valentina, and basically all of you guys should already know the date for the exam. Again, if it wasn't communicated to you yet, I will make sure that you will receive a note from program coordinators. At the same time, I probably won't be present on the exam. However, I will make sure that tutor or proctor who will be during the exam will be able to answer all your questions, as well as I will make sure that we will get the exam probably the most straightforward as possible, as well as what I wanted to chat with you guys, that I'm thinking about our consultation number 4, just to make some sort of like a very simple exam preparation. So similar format as we did with Kahoot. So multiple test or multiple answer tests. So you guys, first of all, will be able kind of like to recall the things we learned, as well as just to basically me give you more heads ups in terms of what should you expect for the exam. You guys cool with that?
Okay.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, that's basically all updates I had regarding consultations as well as the exam. So is there any questions regarding assignment number 2, Start Digital?
Yeah, I have actually it's mostly about the clarifications if I get it right. So
Sure.
yeah, does it mean that like is each purchase ID bring 1,000 to $100 or is it like how do you call it? Okay, is it like per one ID if they make one purchase it brings revenue $1,200 for Star Digital? Is it correct?
Yeah, basically one purchase would be equal for 1 point of the revenue. So it would be, if I'm not mistaken, $1,500. So basically for the assignment, guys, 2 extra clarifications just to make sure that we clarified everything, so you won't be confused at all. First of all, we are assuming by default that we are dealing with the click-through conversions. So no attribution window, no such things needed to be present, calculated, or taken into consideration, number 1. Number 2, we are assuming that the sample, either test sample or overall overall the normal population is representative. So therefore, you don't have to worry about representativeness, the mark of the representativeness of your test population to the overall population, as well as the population you will be calculating your conversion versus the test, if it makes sense.
And then I have a second question also. Sure. Just to clarify, let's say it means like if, for example, there is like one ID that have impression 97 times, meaning to say that this particular person saw the ads or like get proposed by the ads 97 times.
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. And then just last, in your suggestions, like to start with, like should we start with pivot or should we run some analytics like regressions to just figure it out of the factor that it might influence the probability, or where should we start so that we can move further, like make things a bit easier?
Basically, there is no right or wrong answer for your question, because you guys all, again, came from different backgrounds. So remember the methodology or the framework I shared, I believe, on the day 1 or probably day 2, OSINT, on how to tackle all data-related situations for marketing analytics using data science methods. So that framework should answer all your questions. In terms of methodologies or the actual tools you can use for this assignment, guys, whatever you feel comfortable with. The only thing I care about, or 2 things I care about, first of all, the accuracy of your answers, and second, the explanations. So you can do it via pivot tables, but it probably won't be enough. You can plot graphs, and again, it probably won't be enough. You can build linear logistic regression. You can build correlation metrics. I mean, run the frequency analysis. whatever you're comfortable with, and any basically tool which will help you to find the right answer.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem.
This is Simeon, if I may,
Sure.
question about the assignment too. If the revenue from one customer is $1,200, and the cost of the impressions are $20 or $25, and the conversion rate is 15%, it means that 15% of users made the purchase, correct?
Yeah, overall we're assuming that, so basically the assumption is that the expected conversion rate 15%, so you can do it in your calculations, as well as you may want to summarize the numbers. So basically number of conversions, numbers for investments made, and number for the revenues obtained, and then to define the actual conversion rate, as far as I remember. Yep.
Actual conversion rate.
So occasionally you will be given very kind of like steady or fixed conversion rate. That conversion rate may not be the accurate. So I don't remember, to be honest, how it was put in the case, but let me just quickly clarify. But as far as I remember, it was expected. One moment.
Yeah. So, but with such a conversion rate, 15% is quite high. I mean that ROI will be a few thousands of persons. It will be maybe 10,000% or something like this.
But you cannot calculate ROI based on one person, though. You will be calculating that based on the overall population, not based on the person, because you need to into consideration not the ROI, but ROAS, return on ad spend. ROI here, again, the reason I'm saying this, guys, because I want you to stick with accurate representation of all your efforts. So when you say an ROI, technically it is correct. It's better to say it as a ROS. So in this case, it's all put probably as ROI, but for your reference, don't think about this as a representative measure of all your efforts, because what is not included into kind of like your pro forma calculation, or won't be included, that the actual cost, like a fixed or variable cost, which will be a good evaluation or a good mark of all your efforts comparing to the marketing. So in this particular case, it's all about advertising and an analysis of advertising efforts.
Okay, so we will calculate ROS.
Yeah.
Result on spendings.
Yes. Okay. So how much money basically you invest for the particular campaign, and then how much money you would get as a result of the marketing campaign or a digital campaign. Okay,
but with 15% conversion rate, ROS will be very high again. Correct? I mean, from every customer we receive 1,200.
Yeah.
But we invest only $20-25 per impression.
Yeah, that's correct, because in this case, again, in the case it is stated as ROI, but in fact you're measuring ROS. So you're concerned, Seman, about very high ROI, more than justified.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, it's more than justified. It is just a matter of wording. In the case they used ROI, but in fact it's ROS. So ROS can be, again, ROS can be that high. But the thing is that once you start calculating all the numbers which are beyond this case, the actual ROI, return on investment, which will also include the advertising, but should be really low, not than like 15-20%.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi guys.
Hello, Kirill.
Do not mind, and come up with my own. Actually, Ari, you already mentioned two of my questions, and Yeah, I'm really satisfied with the answer. And yeah, just to continue this discussion about the returns of investments and returns of ad spendings. So can you please clarify, because it sounds for me contrary. So we have in the description such a mention that's only 0.153% of the consumers in total, including both of the control and test groups, purchase. So it's about the conversion rate, and it mentioned that it was small. And I'm just it sounds for me contrary. So in one hand, we have kind of really impressive amount of people who made the purchase, but at the same time, this conversion rate. What is the census of the things? Can you?
Sure. Could you quickly point out which page you're referring to and the paragraph? I'm assuming you're talking about page 4. Okay.
Yeah, page 4, the very first from the upper side.
1 second. So again, basically it is like the matter of representation. So basically the way they are framing, or like the way the conversion rate is framed within this case to overall consumers. So think about this in the next way. You may get the people who converting in fact by 1 second, just trying to frame it better. So we may have a number of different channels: digital, offline, people on OOH, people who heard about the ads on radio, etc. So that's why the reason you guys may see the different numbers. And again, it may not be very explicitly specified, but the overall population based on the number of different channels. And then the difference between overall rate of 0.153% versus digital channel itself alone, separately from the overall or different channels. So when you guys start thinking about digital, on digital, you may expect higher conversion rates, way higher conversion rates, 5, 10, 15%, because the targeting parameters and basically the targeted audience is possible to be defined in a sense of specifying this particular age group, people with this income, people who've been on my website 1, 2, 3 times. So therefore the accuracy or the precision of your targeting will be better with the digital channels rather with the overall channels, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And does it mean that this conversion rate is kind of stake out of gross, let's say, ad campaign delivered through different channels, not only digital?
Yeah, basically it. So
okay.
the thing you will be dealing with this case, basically refer more to the numbers, the actual numbers from the Excel spreadsheet, as well to the table and all the information beneath the table. All the information before the table, again, it's like for your reference. The only thing I want you guys to focus on understanding why they do this. What is the cost of thousand impression, and what is the potential return on one conversion, and then analyzing or answering all the questions pages 4 and 5. That should be it, guys. Because again, background may be a bit confusing in terms of how everything is distinguished between the overall efforts, I mean, for different channels versus digital channel alone.
Okay, I see. Yeah, and by the way, the question talking about the impressions. So In the description that was given, the visits recognized as the brand impact. And basically we have this number of impressions, etc. Do we need somehow to count the brand impact, or we just focus only on the returns of
just focus on the conversions? Good question, by the way. Because basically, in order to assess brand lift or cumulative effect on your brand, what would you require? It's a brand lift study. So basically, some of you may actually saw that. For example, on YouTube, occasionally when you watch videos, there would be a pop-up window where you need to select that. For example, I don't remember the actual wording, but it would be something like, okay, you've been exposed to these ads, which one of those you recall? That's a brand lift study. So in order to assess the brand lift study, or basically difference between or in ad recall, or how the people remember, or basically how the people perceive your brand before running campaign and after campaign, brand lift study is essential. So to answer your question, brand lift study is not a part of this assignment, of this campaign. That's the only per digital campaign results. So execution, brand lift before and comes after the campaign execution. Good question, like it.
Okay, thank you.
Just to guys give you a heads up, so you wouldn't be wrapping your head, you know, tearing your head apart and the hair. So consider two things for this assignment. First of all, I would recommend you to start with, first of all, understanding difference between test campaign and kind of like the normal campaign execution, as well as just seeing the or isolating the number of people who were exposed to ads and decided to purchase, and separate number of people who were exposed to ads and didn't make a purchase. So again, recommendation, because everything after that would be the actual solution. So the way you can approach this particular case, number of different ways. Again, I don't want guys to kill your creativity, because for the sake of the course and everything we learn, it's more than enough to solve this case. Again, it's just a matter of sitting, playing around with different assumptions, ideas, different things we learn. And again, don't be somehow frightened of plotting your results in the form of charts, plots, pivot tables, etc. It will actually give you a very good perspective on the numbers. So it will help you. Again, that methodology also, which was covered, I believe, on a day one, if I'm not mistaken, would help you a lot on answering your questions on how to approach this particular problem and how to evaluate the results. Because once you are able to answer question 2 and 3, and I would recommend to start with the question 2, then slowly transition to the question 3, and then once you finish those 2 questions, you will be able to answer question 1. Or you can start with the question 1, because you can just basically sum up the numbers, see the actual money spent, calculate the actual contributions or returns, and then just to see whether it is effective or not. So again, you can approach it in any way you like.
Okay.
It was a long okay. Trying to break it down.
Yeah, just just pulling together all of the inputs and compare it with the task and try to figure out what is the best way to start with.
Again, Kirilo, the only page you need to refer for your calculations in this assignment would be page number 4 from the actual assignment and the Excel file. So trust me, very straightforward. Just probably a bit confusing initially. 1 second, I see some questions in the chat. One moment. Yeah, Max. Yeah, we saw it. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, and I have the last one. If you do not 10% and
sure
90% of sampling. So
1 second, just trying to quickly find it. You're talking about test size population, right?
yeah.
Yep. So basically, it's kind of like the normal practice. So you take the overall population, like random, sorry, you take the entire population, then from that population, you take the random sample, and then the random sample, I don't know, maybe like representative of 10% of your population. And if you deal with something on a large scale, you may take a part of that sample in order to break like a treatment group and the test group. So if guys, you remember statistics, or some of you who took statistics courses, you'll be having basically like let's talk about pharmaceutical industry. So in order to properly assess whether treatment, for example, the pill has effect on the people, so it improves their health, you need to split your groups into two separate types of groups. One, the test group, which will be given or provided treatment, and basically other group, remaining group, control group, which treatment probably won't be given. They will be getting the placebo, and it can be vice versa. Again, depends on the way you will come up with your assumptions. But usually test group, it's something that considers as initial test. So just to kind of like collect the initial results. And then based on the test group, after you collected all your findings, assumptions, verified your assumptions, you may improve those in order to launch it and run your test in full on the control group. So again, number of different assumptions can be thrown, but here don't worry about the percentages. By default, we're assuming that both test and the control groups, as well as the larger and the relationship between the sample to overall population, is representative. So don't worry about that. And silence. Okay. Any other questions? How many of you actually started working on this case? Okay, I see Ari. Okay. So basically, guys, again, the reason I was referring that you may spend 6 hours in this case, it's a astronomical, I don't know, like a maximum amount of time which you technically can spend. Honestly, 2 to 3 hours. If you plot everything, if you work on this case productively. So basically just checking the number of different assumptions one by one, etc., etc. Max, I spent 8 hours on Best Buy. Oh, Jesus. Max, now I feel bad because I shouldn't expect you or shouldn't ask you to spend 8 hours on the Best Buy. And again, Best Buy just 5% of the market. But if you're having fun, my pleasure. Otherwise, what I can say, I'm sorry. So, so basically for this case, again, if you start going through the framework I provided on day 1 or 2, as well as just plotting results, summarizing, pivoting, that should be good enough for you to spot the trends as well as the patterns in the behavior. So first of all, the cumulative effect, the frequency effect. If you're wondering or if you think about how to improve the process or to get the better or precise, apologies, more precise or accurate result, you all have data analysis add-on in Excel, feel free to do it. If some of you want to run the test in Python, you're more than welcome. But again, my concern is that you guys may spend too much time doing this in R and Python instead of just basically figuring everything quickly in Excel. That's probably the only piece of recommendation I have at this point, if you haven't started working on that yet. Cool. Okay. If there are no other questions, we still have 30 minutes left. We can talk about like overall course related things or overall marketing analytics and data science application to the marketing analytics things, if you like. Again, more than open, because no pressure on my end. If you want, we can wrap up early. No problem. Just let me know what you guys are interested in. Okay, looks like democracy doesn't work here. Any questions regarding course overall? Or things you want me to clarify in the meantime? Not hearing anything, not seeing anything in chat. Assuming not. Cool. Okay, either for now clarified. Okay, thanks, Ari. Okay, yeah, Colgate next time. Again, if you like to chat briefly about Colgate, I would say we can, but it's better for you guys to prioritize this case first because it is due too soon. So then Colgate, it's a completely different monster. So for Colgate, you would have to read a lot, and Colgate probably would be the most complex case because it would require a lot of reading and a lot of calculations. Plus, I would have to explain you one thing about cannibalization and how to come up with the cannibalization logic. So let's keep Colgate for the next time. Cool. Okay, so far, based on the calculations, Max, you mentioned that you spent 8 hours on a Best Buy. Now I'm curious. Explain what took you 8 hours to calculate or to figure it out? Because again, it's important for me to know what kind of struggle a student faced. Presentation. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. And the rest 5 hours. Okay, I'm assuming the formatting and the tables. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. What else? Let me just quickly think through my notes. Oh, by the way, you guys all saw your grades on Moodle and all of you received the email, correct? From my understanding. On participation mark, on assignment 1, and bonus homework if you did. Okay, Max, see that? Sweet. So basically for this assignment, the way you will get the grade, it would be in a very similar way. So basically the section of 4 categories, answer on the question 1, like how accurate it was. And again, the way I will be evaluating your efforts for this particular assignment. So it wouldn't be something like correct, incorrect, like a binary response or logical, false or true. So I will take, first of all, I will draw the distribution of all the answers, and then I will take as a benchmark the most accurate response and the most inaccurate as a mean and max, and to see just the distribution. So if someone entered the answer correctly, completely correctly, all the numbers matching up, and I'm seeing that basically the distribution is largely spread and it is normal distribution, I will basically provide all the explanations once I obtain all your Excel files as well as your presentation files. So then I will be able to clearly understand what would be the best grading for this particular assignment. Because again, sticking with right or wrong answer, knowing that you are slightly limited in time and you all come from different backgrounds, it is not correct from my perspective, firstly, and secondly, the precision of the analysis highly depends on how much time you have. What is really important for me is that you have understanding how to tackle this, you invest in certain amount of time, and you understand how further you can improve it. So what I'm taking into consideration that if you are approximately get 80% of the accurate answer, or you're directionally correct, totally fine. The same as we had, or the same way we did with the TiVo assignment. So segmentation, assignment number 1. So some of you were removing outliers. I didn't ask for that, but my admiration and my respect. So no problem on my end to adjust your mark, because again, all I really care is about the methodology or the logic you guys were operating under for solving these kind of problems. Cool with that? Up? Yeah, cool. And then, 1 second, what else? Just kind of like thinking through. Yep, 1 second, let me just guys mark a few more things. So we all talked about this. Okay. So knowing that, 1 second, I believe, I don't remember the exact due date, just stay with me for a moment. Are you guys interested in having some sort of assignment debrief afterwards? So basically just to identify the right answers for this particular assignment and just explaining why these answers are accurate. Because again, there is no like well put file for Start Digital. So my challenge would be basically just to put like a very quick presentation with the right answers, just to show you maybe like 5-6 slides if you're interested in. So we put as a deadline Saturday, May 16th. So I won't be able to present. So therefore, we can do 2 things. I can present the right answer for this assignment on 23rd. Oh, 1 second, let me just provide you the calendar. So we can debrief assignment number 2 on 23rd, but what I want you guys to do, so from my understanding, you all start working on the assignment 2 right now, if you haven't. So again, try to submit your assignment before Friday, I would say. So you will get some time to read through Colgate, at least get the initial understanding. So then we will be able to have a productive conversation next week. Once you do that, or even if you finish this assignment number 2 earlier, and you start getting questions about different things for the Colgate assignment, because again, Colgate is a complex. Feel free to shoot me a note via email so I can start collecting all your questions, and then we will be able to answer them effectively. During our consultation, or even in terms of email communications, because again, I may miss some of your emails, and if you're not getting response from me more than within 24 hours, guys, feel free to follow up with me, because again, I might be flooded with number of different things, and occasionally, like for example, in the situation with Saman, I missed his email somehow. Saman, my apologies. So I responded to him probably like 3 days after the original receipt. So if you're not getting the response from me within 24, okay, 48 hours maximum, feel free just to send me, hey, Eugene, simply wanted to follow up on this question, thanks. That's totally fine by me. Because again, we're all humans, plus the number of emails sometimes might be skyrocketing on my end. So I just want to make sure that you guys all receive proper treatment, communications on my end, as well as those communications are in a time-effective manner. So you have the submission or due date on Saturday, you ask me on Thursday, and I'm responding you on Saturday, 20 minutes before deadline, which would be nonsense from my perspective. So again, in order to prevent those things from happening, feel free to shoot me a note. And again, if I'm not responding within 24, maximum 48 hours, shoot me a follow-up note. Cool? Okay, assuming, yeah, fine. Okay, that's pretty much it on my end. If you guys want, we can wrap up earlier. Otherwise, feel free to ask any questions you guys have. Course connected or something disassociated with course real life question example, so we can think on how we can troubleshoot it. Again, not consulting, but something just to think of in terms of application of everything we learned for this course in real life or to the real business problem. Okay, no democracy here. 2 minutes for you guys to think. If no questions, we will wrap up 15 minutes earlier. So take the 2 minutes seriously, please. Max, I'm totally for fun. I like fun. I like having fun and like doing funny things. So if you guys want, go nuts. 8 hours, please don't yourself. Again, I don't want to get a response from program coordinators saying that students are so frightened, terrified with all your assignments, Eugene. They spend so much time doing some work. It's like, honestly, it's not the purpose of this program. The purpose of this program is just to give you guys a sense on how to tackle those questions or those situations. Everything afterwards, completely yours. All right, if there are any other questions, guys, we are wrapping up 15 minutes earlier. Emails, I'm expecting some. Don't work too hard, but provide high quality work for assignment number 2, expecting those responses. And again, if something doesn't make sense, feel free to shoot me an email. We will clarify it. Otherwise, I will just send notes to the most common questions via announcement section on Moodle, so you guys can see those responses. Because again, if it's like person specific question, I will respond to that particular person immediately. If it's something I feel that everyone may struggle with, don't worry, you will get the announcement. Cool. So far so good. We discussed everything. Happy analyzing and see you next Saturday. Have a great weekend. And again, don't sweat too much. Bye.